Okay, another Banggood kit. This is another LED based kit, heart shape with the word love in the middle of it. So that's the wife's Christmas present sorted. Comes in the typical acrylic shell cases covered in paper which you peel off. So it's just protective paper for the case. Get a piece of it out. There you can see acrylic in the middle, and it's just paper on the outside which you peel off to reveal the plastic case, like that. Very straightforward. We'll do that later. That's the PCB, nicely printed, silk screened, shows where all the components go. Two types of LEDs, some 5mm I think multicoloured LEDs and some 3mm single colour LEDs. Get all those components out in a minute. Comes with all the hardware that you need to put the case together. Put that to one side, won't need that for a while. And then the guts of it, which is this bag. USB cable, very simple jack, works 4.5 to 5 volts, so USB is fine. There's one of the LEDs I was talking about. These are, I think these are 3mm, and I think they spell out the word love. And the other type of LED, if one is going to come to hand, is that type, which is a multicoloured, I believe, which should look quite nice when they're going off. All the resistors, I think, are the same value. Let's see if I can get them all out. There's quite a lot of them. And there's a little ceramic capacitor trying to escape there, so we'll put that back in. So, an LED trying to escape as well. So all the resistors there are the same value. I'm not sure what the value is. I can put a meter on them. I can never read codes. Let's put the meter on and just read what their value is. And they are 500 ohms, something like that. That sound right? I don't know. Yeah, something like that. So they're all the same value, which is good. We have an IC socket, which is good because it means that the accompanying IC is not surface mount. Everything is through hole, so that should make it nice and easy to construct. Power jack. LEDs get everywhere. That's actually threaded itself into the power jack, so that's the power jack. And what else have we got in here? A little red plastic thing there, which might be, I don't know what that's for. We'll work that out as we go along. Problem is, I do not have, we have a resistor of a different value here. Now the problem I've got is I can't find the instructions for this. Now 99% of the components are going to be pretty straightforward to know what to do with them. And I would have thought the resistors will be part of driving the LEDs, so generally speaking they should be okay. Now looking at the silk screening, 510 resistance is marked on all of them, so there must be one that is going to, let's measure that one. What is it? Let's have a look, where is it? See what the value of it is. And that is 10k. So that's a 10k. So I've got a 10k resistor to go in there somewhere. and again I would think it's marked, well, hopefully it's marked somewhere on this board. All these are saying 510, so why I've got that one rogue 10k resistor I do not know at the moment, but anyway, you get the idea. I'll work it out. So the first thing I will do is get the resistors in. So once I've done that, I will get back to you. Just for the sake of regularity, that's where the 10k resistor is, and that will sit underneath the IC socket. So there's some other components to go in underneath the IC socket, so make sure they're installed before the socket is, otherwise you're going to have a very bad day having to take that off again. So yeah, so 10k resistor there, and all these other resistors are going to be the 510s, as you see marked on that PCB. So let's give you a closer look at the PCB if I can, and you can see the heart shape there, and those outer LEDs are going to be the colourful or the multicoloured LEDs, which is these guys, and then these smaller 3mm LEDs, which I don't know the colour of, will go around here and fill this area up to spell out the word love, or just about. Anyway, okay, let's get these LEDs in. Right, that's all the resistors in. I haven't counted them all, but there's quite a few there to install. And as I say, there's the 10k one that lives there, and we got a load of what's that, a load, half a dozen or so spare resistors, which is always the case with these kits. They always give you a few more components than you actually need. Well, I only said that there was only one 10k resistor in there, but fair enough. Okay, so next thing to do, I think, is all of the LEDs, of which, or for which, there are many. So there's all the 3mm ones, or I'll make a pile of the 3mm and the 5. And the 5, as I say, are the multicoloured ones, I believe. These are clearer coloured ones. So I'll put them there. Oh, I think what I'll do is we'll just bump the entire bag out at the side here, and there we go. Now, if you're not aware, LEDs, unlike resistors, are polarity sensitive, if you like. In other words, they've got a plus and they've got a minus. And if you look at both of these LEDs, you'll see that, let's get them in the right orientation. You'll see that one leg is longer than the other, and the long leg is the positive lead, which makes the shorter leg negative, obviously. And if you look at the PCB, you'll see, if I can get it in close enough, if we look at say, where are we? That LED spot there, you'll see that there is a minus and a plus. So that's the same for all the LED positions. So quite obviously you put the longer lead in the plus symbol hole, which leaves the shorter lead for the negative. So all fairly straightforward. So what we're going to do is, I think what I'll do actually is start off by populating the 5mm LEDs first, for absolutely no particular reason at all. So there you go, one in there, and get that one around the wrong way, one in there, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. And the thing to do with these is, when you want to solder an LED, is just to solder one of the pins like that, and once you've done that, you then just put your thumb over it. You can see that one's slightly skew-ish, You just put your thumb over it, then melt the solder again on that one LED, push it down, let go, and that LED is now flat and nicely married up to the motherboard on the main PCB. And then you just flip it over, solder the other pin, crop it, and away you go. So let's do that now. Solder the, I think it's the negative. Oh, put too much solder on it, then go overboard on the solder, and then just crop the leads. And there we have it, a nicely aligned and positioned LED. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all the LEDs, including the small 3mm ones, which make up the word love, as I mentioned earlier. And I'll get back to you after I've done that. Right, that's all the LEDs fitted in. Looks like that. Okay, and you can kind of make out the word love along here, and obviously around the outside you have the heart. Now I need to install a couple of ceramic capacitors there, an electrolytic capacitor there, and the crystal, and also we have oh, I've got an LED I've missed out there. Oh dear, oh dear, I shall have to put that in as well. So let's pop those in. Okay, so we have two 22 puff capacitors installed, 12 megahertz crystal, the 10k resistor I'd already put in, electrolytic capacitor, and again with electrolytic capacitors they are polarity sensitive, so you can see there's a plus side and a minus side, and the minus symbol is printed on the capacitor itself, so it's dead easy to say or to see which side where it should go. Installed the switch and the power jack. I've worked out what this is now for. That clips, I think, onto the switch. Look at that. So, on and off switch. So the final part of the jigsaw is to install the IC and its socket, and that's one of the reasons why I've put the electrolytic capacitor flat against the PCB, so there's room for that guy to sit on there. And you'll notice that on the silk screen that there's a little notch to show at the end of the IC symbol, the larger rectangle there. That matches up with the notch on the socket, so that will go in there like that. And if you look at the IC, you'll also see there's a notch on the IC, so eventually it'll plug in there like that. So next thing to do is to solder all them little pins in to get the socket nicely seated, so we'll do that now. Well, that's it. That's the IC has now been installed, so I just soldered in the IC socket holder, then pushed in the IC itself. Just going to double check on that now, thinking about it. That seems to be in there snugly. You have to bend the pins of the IC in a little, so it fits into the socket snugly. So that's it. It's complete. I guess the next thing to do is to power it up and see if it works. So I'm going to use just this USB power bank, and I have the cable over here. So just plug that into the power bank, and then plug the power cord into the jack like that, and press the big red button and let's see what happens. Hey! And we have an animation going. Let's dim the lights a little. And you can see all the animation as it goes. You can see the word love being displayed there as it goes through a series of animations, which is really rather nice. I think that's good. Let's just let that run for a minute. Drawing out the word love, spinning around the heart shape. I think my missus will like that. I'll save it for Christmas. I think all the LEDs are working. I'm actually just watching very carefully to make sure there aren't any duff LEDs. I'm not sure like the blue LEDs for the word love. I think, I don't know, red might have been a bit better. But having said that, the contrast with the multicoloured LEDs, and let's be honest, the video camera is not great at reflecting what this looks like in true life. They're very bright, very sharp, and yeah, that's great. Well, the next thing to do will be to put the case together.
Permanent. Class has many instances.
And that's Alexa.
By subclasses
What?
and pluralizable.
Shut up. I've got one of those Echo Dot things and it just decides to go off every now and again and talking complete crap. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, I like that. So yes, let's start putting the case together. That will be the next little job on the agenda. Right, well, I've finished putting the case back together, and here it is. Went together quite nicely. And that's the completed kit. There was an extra piece of casing here, which you see the shape of it. It's got a little notch on the end. And I think the idea is that it clips into that hole there to act as some sort of kickstand, but doesn't really need it. It stands up quite nicely on its own. So what I thought I would do is just try and set the camera up a little bit for you to see what the final display is like. So I'll plug in the power supply, which is just a power bank here. Let's bring the lights down a bit and we'll switch her on and you can see how it works. And there she goes. There's quite a few different animations there. Somebody has put some time and effort into this, which is quite nice. It's very effective. I don't think it probably comes across too well on the video, but in the flesh, it looks great. It really does. It's quite bright when they all start going together like they are at the moment. And there are quite a few different animations in it. Right, there we go. You get the idea. So yeah, nice kit. Pleased with that. So another successful Banggood kit. And thanks for watching. I've got some more to do, and we'll start going through those shortly. Thanks for watching. See you again.